It's the world's best shows from Las Vegas, and we're here at Treasure Island with one of my favourite shows by Cirque du Soleil. It's called Mystere, and the big star of it, without question, is Brian Le Petit. Brian, how are you?
I'm fine, and let me put you straight. We don't have stars in Cirque du Soleil. Everybody is treated equal. And
I disagree, but anyway, thank you for being humble. Brian, you're unique because you're a character, and if people want to put an image in their head of your character, he's very Ken Dodd, isn't he?
Yeah, especially with the hair and the craziness. The character really is like somebody who's gone to a wedding, and the bad uncle who's got the wrong suit, just hired a suit, was the wrong side. He's got drunk and wandered into the theatre, and I think I'll mess around with everybody here. That's the kind of character I think it is. That I take the tickets off from the ushers and say, I'll take them to their seats, and then mess around with people.
I've seen you in this role now 3 times, and each time you still make me laugh. You have that innate ability to be funny. You can't be taught that, can you?
No, I mean, I started clowning when I was 13 years old, so quite a while ago.
And you're now in your 40s?
Yes, just 40 plus 35. Yeah. So, it's something, you start out, especially in circus, you start out generally doing serious stuff, acrobatics, and then gradually as you injure yourself, you say, I think I'll do a little bit less and start clowning, and you find that you enjoy doing comedy, and it develops, obviously, as you go along.
This show, the first time I saw it, did something I'd never seen in theatre before, and I've seen most of the rubbish all the way around the world. They start the show about 10 minutes before it really starts, and you're responsible for that. And for those who turn up on time, they've missed a real treat.
Yeah, I know, it's strange. When I take people's tickets, I said, and they go, why are you picking on us? Well, it's just a question of timing. They're not expecting that. But it's very similar, like to TV, when people have a warm-up before the sitcom and things like that to make people relax. Dealing with the public there is easy because they don't know what's happening. But once you're into a structured situation, like with one of the acts that I do, taking somebody out of the audience, getting the right person, it has to be a couple, so because I play with a girl after I put him in a box. So it's sometimes I go around and I always shake hands. I say, hi, would you stand up? And as soon as they stand up, I go, okay, come and give me a hand. Or sit down again, and then move on to somebody else. It doesn't happen very often. I mean, you become quite a good judge of who's going to be helpful and who's going to resist you. I mean, last night I had somebody in front of me when I was doing something, and they went, "Don't touch me," in French, actually. Ne me touche pas. And so, but I'm sure you've experienced that. If you work with the public, you're on edge all the time.
I think most people think Cirque du Soleil means circus. That is what it is. This is more of a circus than Car or Love. It still makes me nervous, this show, and I love that about it. There aren't many things I go and see where I'm still mesmerised. Is it going to work? Because there is a certain room of danger in every performance, isn't there?
Yes. I think all the shows, there's a huge amount of danger, particularly in the touring shows. I don't know if you've seen any of the touring shows. They're very, they're very similar to Mystere, which I feel is the closest to one of the touring shows. It has the other shows. If you take O, for example, it's almost like a proscenium arch, and you're watching the show. It's an image, and you sit back and you don't get involved. Whereas on the touring shows, and here in particular, you're right with them. I mean, you're seeing the acrobats go up the air, and you can see their facial expressions. Whereas like Car's quite distant. Love is also quite distant. So this show is really makes contact with the audience. That's what I love about it. You are in amongst the audience.
Tell us some of the things you've been in and some of the people you've worked with, because I mean it's quite spectacular, your career.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, when I look back, at the time you don't appreciate it, because you're concentrating on what you're doing. But I worked with Marlene Dietrich in Belgium there's a theatre called the Ancien Belgique. And Marlene Dietrich was there, and Burt Bacharach was playing the piano for her. I did a tour with Nat King Cole in England in the latter days of the music hall when they used to bring a big star over. Guy Mitchell was a great mate because I do rope spinning and he did rope spinning. He was a cowboy. Most of the theatres, worked the London Palladium, the Paris Olympia, the Moulin Rouge in Paris for a year. Circus Knie in Switzerland, and most of the big circuses and shows.
I want to be you because I feel today in 2008, somebody starting off wouldn't have the opportunities that you did. Show business is not the same. There aren't many shows like this around now. It's kind of moved on, hasn't it? And to be able to have that apprenticeship that you did with all those amazing people is almost impossible now.
Well, I think the contact with those people is doesn't exist anymore because people are more specialised. You know, the circus this kind of circus stays with it. I mean, I think people who are beginning in traditional circus and coming up through that avenue, they will, you know, they come to Vegas with their acts, like Marco and Paolo, our hand balancing act. They come here, and of course they get introduced to all the various stars. But actually working with them, no, because you're working with Cirque du Soleil. But at the same time, Cirque did presentations at the Oscars and at the Academy Awards. So they've just done one with the Grammys, I think. Did they do it? Yeah, they did one with the Grammys. So they have contact with stars in that way, and they do the Tonight Show and all those big TV shows.
Is there anything left for you to do now? I mean, you've worked with the greats of comedy like Ronnie Corbett and Ken Dodd. Is this it for you? Have you reached where you want to be? Are you happy? Have you fulfilled every dream, in other words?
There's always something around the corner. And I've always said to my kids, you know, you'll never regret doing something. So if something came up, I would say, oh, okay, let's do it. At the moment, I'm very content. I got married my wife passed away about 9 years ago, and I just remarried recently, 6 months yesterday, actually. But I'm very content in my life. My kids are here in Vegas. One's working in Zumanity, one of the other Cirque shows, and my daughter is a PR for the Crazy Horse in Paris. But she's working here with this show, with Crazy Horse here in Vegas. So my family are here. But I would like to have a little place in Europe because I do miss Europe, and there's something special about that.
What is it like doing the show every night, the repetition of it, and turning up and putting the makeup on and doing the hair and putting the suit on, the badly fitting suit? It's an awful lot of repetition, isn't it?
It's 10 shows a week. I've negotiated now to have 3 or 4 months off a year. You know, I can take a week here and there, and I've got a great guy who understudies me, and so it's great for him. He gets to develop a character as well. I think we're both developed very differently, but the 10 shows, it's lovely. I go through a door into the audience, and it's like going through the looking glass. You might feel a bit low, and you go, oh God, I've got to open this bloody door. And you open the door and you go, oh, here we are. It's pleasure, it's joy.
And I think you've probably got the best gig of Cirque du Soleil, and I've seen them all now, because you can actually ad-lib, do what you like, say what you like. Yeah. The rest of it is pretty structured because it has to be for safety reasons and a million other reasons. Yeah. You get to have some fun, which is nice.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Sometimes the fun turns out to be a little bit risky, but in general it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I couldn't wish for a better ending to my career. It's the adrenaline, I think. Just all of a sudden you see the audience and you hear them, and there's nothing like having somebody laugh at you. I mean, it's what is particularly lovely is if the audience is laughing, but one person really gets it, and that one person, you hear them laugh way above the other person, the rest of the crowd. And I'm sure Ken Dodd has the same feeling, and he looks and goes, what do you say, madam? You know, and it's because or monsieur, but they're really. It's great to have people laugh at you.
Are we going to be able to tempt you back to Britain? I mean, you've got the sunshine, the food, the shows here. Are you ever going to come back to Blighty?
I'd love to go if there was something that was as good as this, or as much fun as this. Depends on what Cirque du Soleil has to offer, or anybody else. I'm open to offers. You could say that.
Right. Let's give your telephone number out and your email address and your website, and see if we can get you some work. I don't think you need it because you're fantastic in this, Brian. It's been really nice meeting you, and congratulations on the show. You are the star of it, and everybody loves you. You're one of those characters that sticks out, and you're warm, and I think that's such a rare quality. Congratulations.
Well, star is rats backwards, isn't it, or something like that.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay.
We'll be back next with the star of the Phantom of the Opera.
The Alex Belfield In Conversation podcast with daisymedia.co.uk. Alex Belfield.